One byproduct, of course, of his late blooming as a bowler is that his reputation as a batsman somewhat suffered. In his youth, he was fairly handy with the bat, but now he's judged on what he was doing with the willow in his mid to late 40s, isn't he? And he
Yeah,
really quite
absolutely.
fancied himself.
He did. There are quotes from him where he was really quite disappointed about the fact that his batting wasn't rated, and he obviously thought he was better than that. And he did have times when he would go in, even 10 or 11 in the order, and score some useful runs. I think he also managed to hit the ball out of the oval at one point. He could bat, but increasingly he was regarded as just a bowler.
A mighty smite to hit it out of the oval in those days. George Bonner famously lifted one into the deep, 120 metres, only to get caught in the fence. One of the most famous stories about Southerton actually involves his batting. He was once retired in rather interesting circumstances. In fact, something happened last summer on air. I don't know if you saw Temba Bavuma's dismissal during the Sri Lanka series in South Africa, when he missed the ball by a margin of inches and was the only man on the field who thought he'd hit it, tucked his bat under his arm and walked off. And I remember thinking to myself, that should be retired too. If the umpire doesn't think you're out, the fielding side doesn't think you're out, and you're the only one who does, you're retired, aren't you?
Well, in Southerton's case, it went down in the scorebook apparently as retired, thinking he was caught. This was around 1870, and he was playing for Surrey against the MCC. And it seems that he hit a ball pretty much into the ground in front of W.G. Grace, who claimed a catch. But Grace always said this was just a joke. He was just having Southerton on because he thought that Southerton often batted with his eyes closed. And although Grace and all the other players and the umpires tried to call him back, Southerton kept on walking and wouldn't come back. So I think again, this is another sign of his stubbornness. If he thought that something had happened and he'd made it his decision, he stuck with it. Yeah, it's an unusual occurrence.